How are we doing, guys? Welcome to the Aakman's guide video for console in the perspective of a wizard. Now, the first thing you're going to need to do before thinking about going into Aakman's is make sure you have hit level 60. That is the minimum level I'd recommend for anyone before going in there, and I would recommend to try and hit 61 as well before going into Aakman's. But once you are level 60, the next things you're going to need is a minimum gear requirement of 235 AP on both your Kazaka and your Dandy. So your AP and your AAP have to be at the minimum point of 235, and your DP has to be at a minimum of 290. 290 DP is quite low. If you can push that to 301, that's fantastic. And the AP, you can actually try going into Aakman's at 225 on Wizard. You're not going to be as effective, but if you just want to test it out and see how you like it down there, you can try to mess around at the 225 AP bracket. But after you've got all that, we're going to talk about the buffs that you're going to want to take with you. So your food rotation, we're going to be starting with Camasilvia Meal. 150 health is fantastic for survivability. 5% back attack damage is key. The stamina is not very important for the wizard. But then after that, you want the King of Jungle Hamburg. Crit damage plus 5% is really, really good down there for any class. And again, any class, AP plus 5, accuracy plus 10, crit plus 1. These are all important buffs that you get from these three foods. And these are the best three foods for high-end PvE grinding, in my opinion. Next thing, you're going to be in the desert looking for a portal, so make sure you got some Star Anisia tea and some water with you, depending on what time of day you're going out there, to be able to get rid of that desert debuff. You will not get the desert debuff reapplied once you're in Aakman's, so once you get in there, if you just drink a purified water or a tea, you'll be a-okay and you won't have to worry about that again. Next one is I'd highly recommend taking as many potions as you can carry, and I would say it's a requirement to have a fairy with Miraculous Cheer. It doesn't have to be Miraculous Cheer 5, but any kind of Miraculous Cheer is really, really going to help you out because you don't want to be micromanaging hitting pots when you're trying to clear. So do work on that if you don't have your fairy. And next is the elixirs that I recommend taking with you. There's 5 main elixirs that I'd highly recommend. Elixir of Draining, the plus 3 HP on crit. Here is absolutely key, great for survivability and really versatile. I would not recommend using the blue version because that's better for PvP. Assassination, 10% back attack damage is very, very important. Again, I wouldn't recommend the blue version because that's better for PvP usage. And concentration, plus 8 accuracy, really good for clearing down there. Again, I'd recommend saving the blue version for PvP. Next is Demi-Human, 15 extra damage against Demi-Humans, which Aakman's mobs is fantastic. I would recommend the blue version for this one, as you won't be using this in PvP, obviously. This is a PvE specific elixir. And then if you have more DP and you feel safer, you could definitely go with Elixir of Frenzy here. I'd even recommend the blue version because I don't recommend using Frenzy elixirs in PvP. But if you are having survivability issues, obviously just stick with Elixir of Fury. All AP plus 5 is fantastic. And again, save the blue version for PvP. These are the main elixirs I would recommend. And obviously, they're all party elixirs just to reduce the micromanaging you have to do when you get down to Aakman's. You don't want to have to waste a lot of time popping elixirs. So if you make them into the party equivalent, it doubles the duration of that elixir's timing. So it halves the amount of micromanaging you have to do. Now, if you're slightly less DP or it's the first couple times you're going down there, there's 3 extra elixirs I would recommend to you. First one is Elixir of Will. Again, blue version is good for this one as well. 7.5% damage reduction from monsters, which is great. The blue version is 10%. Grim Reaper, just stick to the green one. +1 on any kind of hit. Doesn't have to be crit. This is quite nice. Draining is actually better for sustain, but the +1 on top of the draining should really help out maximize your sustain down there. And Elixir of Resistances will reduce the amount of times you can get CC'd by the mobs. That can definitely be helpful as well. Finally, if you're really having survivability issues, you can add Elixir of Defense. I just recommend the green version, not the blue version. And also Party of Extra Life. Again, just the green version here, just to give yourself some more HP and some damage reduction to increase your survivability. And finally, if you really are still having issues, take the Protection Alchemy Stone with you. But ideally, you want to be using the Destruction Stone. This is going to maximize your clear speed. If you don't have these alchemy stones, just go head to the central market. Very soon we should see an abundance of these spirit stones hit the market. So grab yourself a destruction spirit stone. It's exactly the same as this one I have here. It doesn't have the ignore all resistances. So hopefully within a week or so of this video coming out, we're going to see a lot more of these spirit stones hit the market. And then once you've got that, some extra items I'd recommend to take with you is obviously just some food for your pets to keep them topped up, some food for your worker empire to keep them topped up, and an optional thing as well, if you have a tent, obviously take the villa invitation with you and pop your tent buff down there. You can always, if you don't have a tent, go to a villa remotely and get yourself the 3-hour buff, which will help you out for the first 3 hours of grinding whilst you're down there. You can most definitely do that as well. In terms of your crystal setup, for your main hand, you're going to want the precision crystals. For your offhand, and if you again have survivability issues, instead of having crit crystals, which is what I'm currently running to maximize DPS, I would recommend grabbing yourself the HP and AP crystals. So if you come down here to magic crystals, we go to sub weapon. You can see the Voltara spirit crystals is a bit expensive, but there are some on the market. Preferably though, you want the awakened spirit crystals that are a bit cheaper, but there's not usually too many of these on the market, so you might be forced to buy the Voltara crystals if you can't get your hand on the awakening ones. But the extra 150 HP times 2 is 300 HP. That's going to really help you out in terms of survivability, and you still get more damage because of the AP. The helmet crystal is completely up to you. I've got experience crystals in my helmet. Best in slot would be the Jin Half-Year crystals. Cheap crystals that you can put in there that are quite nice is just the regular Half-Year crystal to give yourself an extra 50 HP per crystal and 5 HP recovery per crystal, which will give you an extra 100 health altogether. And for your armor piece, I'd recommend 2 Jin core bonus crystals that are the best in slot. I currently have the one that we got as a reward a little while ago for attendance, which is just gives, instead of more damage reduction, it gives some PvP benefits of stiff reduction percentages. And I've got the Bond version because I really can't be bothered to keep attempting Jin. It is quite hard to get Jin. You can make do with Bond. I think Bond is fine. The only one I wouldn't recommend is 1. But the cheaper equivalent would be the Black Magic Vigor crystals. For your boots, I would definitely recommend getting the knockdown resistance adamantium ones. You don't have to have the RBF version. RBF is best in slot, but the regular adamantium, they're pretty cheap and they're very good for Aakman's grinding. And obviously you want best in slot Jin Viper crystals in here. Again, the cheap option would be Black Magic Precision crystals. If it's your first time down there, and especially if you're a bit lower on that DP range, I would recommend the cheaper items that I have listed here. The only one that I'd recommend maybe getting the more expensive version is the sub weapon, just to get the extra HP. But after you've got all these crystals, just a quick conversation about Aakman's mobs. When you get into Aakman's, the main 3 mobs that you want to be killing is the Aakman Elite Guardians. That's the most important one. It's the only mob that can drop black shards, and it also has a chance of dropping a straight tongue rat earring. The Elite Watcher, sorry, not the Elite Watcher, the regular Watcher has a chance of dropping the straight earring, and the Aakman's Punisher, which is the guy on a little mount down there, has also a chance of dropping the straight tongue rat earring. And I'm pretty sure every mob in there can drop red shards, and every mob has also the opportunity of dropping scrolls, and some mobs will drop you some black magic crystals as well, one of them being Vigor and another one is Black Magic Crystal of Memory, so they can also drop there for some extra income too. Another item you're going to want to make sure you have on you when you get down there is some Elion Tears. As you can see, we've had some event ones in the past, so make sure you grab them to take with you. And every single day, if you're going to be grinding Aakmans and you don't want to spend pearls, grab the Loyalty Elion Tear and stock up on them so you have at least 10 to 20, and then at that point maybe stop grabbing them if you're not forced to use them. It's much better than allowing yourself to have to spawn at a node, because if you do that, you're going to lose experience and you're going to have to find a portal, which is definitely not recommended. And then once you have all these, the next thing we're going to talk about is the minimum skill point requirement and what skills you're going to need to unlock to be able to grind Aakmans efficiently. So let's head on over to our skills. The minimum number of skill points you're going to need is 1,109 to be able to start clearing Aakmans. And what skills those will translate to are Aqua Gel maxed out, Water Sphere maxed out, the Aqua Bomb Flow, Lava Field, Hellfire maxed out, Board Destruction maxed out. You're going to skip the first flow over here. You're then going to get Flow Fire Fist Mark. You're going to get Flow Arnie Stream, Flow Fire Breath Mark. You're going to max out Cataclysm, and you're going to skip Chilling Wave. Those are the awakening skills that you're going to grab. And your pre-awakening skills, you're going to grab Sage's Memory. You're going to grab Absolute Multiple Magical Arrow down here. You're going to grab Fireball level 4. You're going to get Absolute Fireball Explosion. So you need to get to Fireball Explosion 3. Then Absolute Fireball Explosion. You're going to get Teleport 3 into Ultimate Teleport. After that, you will get yourself the Magical Lighthouse, a very key important skill. You're going to max that out to tier 3. You're going to max out your mind training to level 20, I think it is. Obviously, if you're 60, it'd be 1 less. It'd be 3 less skill points than I've mentioned here. It'd be 1,106 skill points you'll need. But if you're 61, get the 10 version here. Infantry Master, you're going to take that to tier 6. Skilled Hunter, tier 5. And you're going to get the Sage's Rage for your Rebalm. That is your Rebalm Fireball. Very key again for farming down there. And once you have all these skills, you can then go to the skill instructor to look at your skill add-ons. However, before we do that, I'm going to give you the recommended skills. So that's the minimum skills you're going to need. Now, in terms of just PvE skills, this next skill set that I'm going to give you is going to be the optimal skill set for grinding Aakmans. So for the optimum skill build, you need 1,480 skills. And again, with the Awakening, you're now going to add Chilling Wave, tier 3. You won't use it very often, but just have the extra skill in your toolkit, just in case you do need to use it, will be nice. And then obviously you're going to pick up the Flow this time for that. So the Arnie's Guidance, which you skipped the first time, you'll now pick that up. And then in your pre-awakening, you're also going to pick up Absolute Lightning Chain. This helps out for gathering mobs a bit quicker. It hits more mobs. Does a bit more damage when you hit them as well, but that's really irrelevant. But it's just nicer for grouping them together. And after that one, you're going to want to grab, you're going to max out your heal. It's just, you know, it's nice in between mobs to be able to heal yourself for a bit more. And again, max out your second heal and max out your Spellbound Heart. The 10 minutes for movement speed plus 10% is really nice, but more importantly, 250 mana recovery per tick is really helpful as well. And if you upgrade those moves, that's going to again cost you 1,480 points. But now that you've got all of those items, the next thing we're going to do is look at our skill add-ons. So this skill instructor Muhan, which is located in Rock Post, is the closest one to Sandgrain Bazaar. If you come to this guy here, go to skill add-ons. For the Meteor Shower, I've just got the PvP one for here because we don't use Meteor Shower. We only use these 2 skills that you can put skill add-ons or for your pre-awakening. So if you do want to have this for yourself, just PvP plus 5, instant mana reduction 30. But for Aakman specifically, Fireball Explosion, all defense plus 15, all accuracy plus 3% is what you're going to want. For the multiple magic arrow, you're going to want attacks against monsters plus 20 with casting speed plus 4%. And in your awakening set, you want your Aqua Gel to have attacks against monsters plus 20 and 42 bleeding damage for 15 seconds. And you're going to want Hellfire to grab 10% crit rate with 40 poison damage for 18 seconds. And finally, Ball Destruction, you're going to want 20 AP against monsters with accuracy plus 3%. The one that you can change out here for more survivability is Scratch Ball Destruction and get the defense buffs on Cataclysm. So I think it's damage reduction plus 15 and evasion plus 10 or something like that for the Cataclysm one. So if you want a bit more survivability, you can go through that route. And when you have all those skill add-ons, Then I'd recommend making sure to have a PvE ring menu for your skills. You're definitely going to want Water Sphere to be on one of your D-pads, or LT plus one of your D-pads. It's an important skill to be by itself. Next one, Multiple Magic Arrow. You definitely want that to be on your D-pad. You definitely want Sage's Memory to be on your D-pad. Teleport is not a priority. That's just, I prefer having it there for my own reasons. It just allows me to be able to teleport when I have my weapons put away, which is more for PvP than it is for PvE. Next one is you want Magical Lighthouse to be by itself as well. Normally this is in your ring menu. However, when you're in Aakman's or Hystria, you don't want to be messing around doing this. You just want to be able to pop this skill and not mess it up, because this is very key for grinding mobs. So definitely do this whilst you're grinding Aakman's, but I wouldn't recommend keeping this on your skill menu when you're not grinding high-end zones. And finally, I put my foods on my ring menu here, so I don't have to open my inventory to keep those running. In case my alchemy stone ever bugs, I have that on my ring menu. If I want to mess around with my fairy, I'd have that on my ring menu. Butler's PvP campsite, again, those are extra things I put on there. In terms of what you want for your fairy, the first couple times you go down there, I'd set it to around 85%, which is quite high. But, you know, whilst you're learning it, it's better to waste a bit more potions. You don't need the mana pots at the bottom, you just need the HP pots. But when you get comfortable, you can definitely skim this down to around the 60 to 70%. If you're really comfortable, you can do 40 to 50. But 60 to 70 is a nice area for it to be when you get comfortable with that grind. Other items that I've got on my skill menus here. So as you can see, we got speed spell you don't really need. I've got my heals over here that you do in between mobs. I've got my rage absorption, which is quite important. And spellbounds is here as well, which is quite nice to have passively up. And in case you ever want to use Sage's Memory whilst you're grinding, you can do that as well. If you've got Meteor unlocked, it wasn't in my skill guide because it's not really relevant for grinding. But you can sometimes do a Sage's Memory Meteor just for shits and giggles, if that's what you want to do. And I would not recommend summoning your pet, but I keep that on my skill menu as well. But finally, you want one skill menu dedicated to your elixirs. You do not want to be pressing pause whilst you're down there to reapply elixirs. So this is very important when you get down there. Once you have everything I've just listed, you are finally ready to go grind Aakman's. So obviously we're going to need to get to Sandgrain Bazaar, and we're also going to need a camel. So I'll catch you guys in Sandgrain. Alright, so we are at Sandgrain Bazaar now. We're going to go portal hunting. One important thing I can mention here, there is another way to get into Aakman's that doesn't require going through portals. If you grab 3 Black Spirit Claws and make them into the claw over here, you can actually give this to the Aakman's node manager. So if we open our map over here, you'll take a right, you'll stick on going towards Crescent Mountains, and you'll eventually hit Aakman's over here. Once you get there, just go speak to the node manager and he can actually teleport you to Aakman's, given you've done the Aakman's quest line. I haven't specifically done it for Aakman's, but I have done it for Hystria. So if you don't want to go portal hunting and you don't mind picking up Black Spirit Claws, just go on YouTube and type in BDO Aakman's quest line, and there should be plenty of guides on how to get the Aakman's guaranteed entrance. But after you've done, if you don't want to do that, or if you just prefer doing portal hunting and you don't want to spend 4.5 million every time you want to go to Aakman's, you will have to go to find some portals in the desert. I recommend just leaving Sandgrain and taking a left. So I'm going to show you my full route, and then I'll jump into a portal and cut it to Aakman's. However, one thing I'm going to note on this first section that we're going to stop at, which is just this hill in front of us here, there are 4 different portals that can spawn here. And what I do is sometimes, so you can see there's one directly in front of me. So that's one of the spawns. There's 2 more spawns possible just on top of this mountain here. And then I think there's just one more spawn just in front of me in this little divot. So if there isn't a portal when you come here and you don't want to keep searching around, one other method you can do is just disconnect and change servers. Just keep server hopping until you find a server with a portal. that is definitely an option. But if you don't have an Xbox One X and an XSD, that can take quite a long time to do server hopping. So it might be worth it just to continue looking for portals. But anyway, we've gone past that. And now the next portal you're going to find that you might be able to find is just after this hill. So right after you get over this mountain here, you get past this little turtle guy over here. There's sometimes a portal right around where I am currently. If there is no portal here, then we're going to continue going northeast. And sometimes there's a little portal just to our right over here, just over this divot. So you might find a portal just around this section here. If you don't, then we're going to go a bit more towards the northern side here. We're going to go over this mountain. And there's a possibility, just again in this divot in front of me here, that you can find a portal here. If you don't find one here, then there is also another chance that you can find one just over this side of the mountain. Well, this hill right here. I can't really, it might be this section here, or it could be this little one here. I can't remember exactly. It's been a while since I've done portal hunting. So one of these two sections here, but you can't miss it. If I don't find any here, I'll cut across to Illibab. So Illibab is directly south of us. Well, almost directly south of us, a little bit to the east still. I'll cut across Illibab and I'll make my way back to Sandgrain Bazaar. And if there's no portals, then I'll switch servers and do it again. There are definitely a lot of portals more north towards Valencia, but I just don't like going that way. I like cutting my circles short and heading back, because usually 9 times out of 10 you'll find a portal and you won't have to switch servers. Obviously you saw one portal at the very beginning there, but once you cut across, I believe you could find a portal just to my left, if not just on top of one of these two hills. I can't remember if it was this hill. It's either this hill that I'm currently on. Actually, it probably is this hill, because that one's got a little structure on it. So anywhere in this section here you might find a portal. And now we're going southwest towards the southwest corner on our mini-map. Again, you might find a portal just underneath you over here. If not, just stick on the left side of these trees over here. I believe that's Pilgrim Haven to our directly in front of us there. So just stick on the left side. I think there's actually a portal right in front of Pilgrim's Haven that just behind me over here that might spawn as well. But just keep sticking to the left. You want to be going southwest until you get a bit closer to those mountains ahead of us. I can't remember, there might be a portal spawn to my left here, but don't really remember, to be honest. So just keep an eye on your left hand side, and you're going to keep going this way. We're going to go over this little hump, and once you go over this hump, so directly in front of us in the distance, you will be able to see a portal rendering if there is a portal. It's quite far away from where we are, but I'm not going to go all the way over there. But basically, just a bit further ahead of me here, you can see a portal towards the edges. Obviously, it's not there, so you're going to go west now, back towards Sandgrain. And I think there might be one more portal somewhere around this divot here. If there is no portals, then you'll go back to Sandgrain and just switch servers, try again. So I'm going to go find a portal now, and I'll cut it to when we get inside Aakman's. Okay, and we finally made it into Aakman's. We are at currently the highest points in Aakman's. Quick note, just this little cave up there is one of the exits that you can use. It's not going to be the main exit you use, but you have the option of using it if you want. But the layout of Aakman's is pretty simple. It's just a spiral staircase that goes all the way down to a ground floor. And there are rooms off the side of the spiral staircase that you can clear mobs in. All the rooms are relatively similar now. They've reworked it to make sure they have a similar number of elites. And they all respawn at a good rate compared to the size of the rooms. So smaller rooms actually have higher respawn rates, and larger rooms have smaller ones to make them more viable. Our first room is just to the left here. I actually like this room at the top. It's a pretty easy to grind room. You'll just start with clearing this corner, and then you'd come over here, you'd grab these mobs to this corner here, then clear this corner. Then you grab some mobs from the middle over there, bring them over here and clear this corner. And then you grab these mobs, and if there's any mobs still up in the middle, you grab those as well, and then clear this corner, and rinse and repeat. So I do like this room, so I'm just going to mention that one. It's a nice, easy room to start in as well. So if you're one of your first times coming here, try that top room there. But in terms of the layout, so this is the first break in the stairs. So if you come to our right over here, you can see there's a little hole. So you can go through that hole there, and that will take you down to the next level. What you can do as well, if you just stick to the very edge of the wall and you just drop down, you can see that you can get to the next level here. But if you were to take the break in the stairs, you'd actually end up a bit higher. The break in the stairs will take you to this location, which I'll show you in just a minute. So you'd come out over here if you weren't to take the jump. So the jump will save you some time if you're trying to get to the node manager or to a different room. But I will now show you where the node manager is. So once you get down past the first break, we're going to also have to get down past the second break. Again, you can go through this room here. You can drop down this hole, and then directly behind you, if you go back out, you'll enter the next stage. Or what you can do, which is what I prefer to do, is just take a little slip off the ledge over here. It's a good safe spot as well. You can't get killed up here by mobs. So if you do want to take a break, any one of these ledges, this one or the above one, is a nice space to take a break. But we're going to go all the way down. So we're going to keep going down until we get to the node manager. It's just a bit further. So over here you'll find the Merchant of Aakman's. You can buy potions to top yourself up, and you can repair your stuff here. So you don't really have to leave Aakman's for a long time if you don't want to. But I will show you the two rooms that I like to personally grind. However, just keep in mind, any room is viable. There is no real best room in Aakman's. Just do whatever works for you. So if we go up the stairs, the very first room to our left, we'll teleport through it. This room here is a nice elite rotation. So this, I say there is no best room. There's a couple more elites in a close vicinity in this room here. So you can start here if you want. So we're going to grab our Villa buff. And I'm going to pop the elixirs that I recommended. So once you've got all your buffs activated, start this room. Just chain lightning everything you can. You're going to come to this corner. You'll place your magical lighthouse down. And for the clearing skills, you're going to start with, after we get back up, you're going to start with Aquagel. You're going to go into Build Destruction, into Cataclysm. You're then going to get behind the mobs, do a Hellfire, multiple magic arrow, Sage Fireball, Fireball Explosion, and then Water Sphere with the flow. If they're still alive, then you will just continue doing Cataclysm, Hellfire, Aquagel, Absolute Magic Arrow with the Fireball, and you'll just rinse and repeat. You don't have to add Boiled Destruction in your rotation anymore. It's just a good starting skill. But once you clear everything over here, for your next set of mobs, you grab all these guys, you'll bring them to this elite, you'll place your magical lighthouse, and you're actually meant to start, I'm used to doing Hystria grinds, so you're meant to start with Aquagel, then do Board Destruction, then do Cataclysm, get behind them, Hellfire, Absolute Magical Arrow, your Fireballs, your Water Sphere and the Flow, Cataclysm, again Hellfire with the Aquagel, and your explosions like that. You don't have to kill every single mob. You see there's a couple mobs left over here. You don't have to kill them. It would actually be more efficient just to grab this next pack, bring him over, grab these guys here, place your fireball towards the center of the room. And I keep doing I keep doing the wrong rotation next. I'm used to grinding Hystria. You're meant to start with Aqua Gel. Then you do Board Destruction. Then you do Cataclysm, Hellfire, Absolute Magic Arrow, your fireballs, the Fireball Explosion, and then the Water Sphere to come back. And if they're not dead, again, just finish them off with whatever skills you feel comfortable. Again, you don't have to kill everything. If you want to be more efficient, sometimes just leaving these priests and going to the next mob is more efficient. So I wouldn't recommend killing all the mobs. That's the one thing with Aakmans, it's hard to group these priests. So if you do clear too quick, which we definitely do, you're going to come through this hole over here. And then you're going to chain lightning this side, bring them to the left, put your little magical lighthouse on the ground, put your lava field in the corner. Again, sorry, it's meant to be Aqua Gel, then Bold Destruction, then Cataclysm, and you springboard behind them. Do your Hellfire with your multiple magic arrow, the Fireball Explosion, then Water Sphere, and then finish them off however you see fit. This should be more than enough time for all the mobs to have respawned over here. And you just rinse and repeat over and over again until you are happy with your grind. Now the next room that I'll show you guys is going to be a bit further up from the node manager. So again, node manager's underneath us. You go up these first flight of stairs. You'll continue to keep going up until you hit the break in the stairs. So once you hit this break, you take a left. If there's any rooms I wouldn't recommend grinding, this room here I wouldn't recommend grinding. And I wouldn't recommend grinding the room above it, because there's going to be a lot of people coming in and out of these rooms that are just going to mess the pools up. And there's quite a few of these elite hammer guys. So what are they called? Elite Watchers. Elite Watchers are useless mobs. They don't give you anything good, but they're really good at just CCing you. 9 times out of 10, if you die, it's because you got CC'd by one of those Elite Watchers over there. But then once you come past that crack in the stairs, we're going to go through the first room on the left. This is another room that I like to personally grind. But like I said, after the changes they've done to Aakmans, you can definitely grind whatever room you want. So I'm just going to clear these guys that got aggro to me. And then I'll show you what rotation I take in this room. Now there's one elixir I haven't popped because it's not on my ring menu. You should also be popping your demi-human hunting elixirs. Again, my ring menu is set up for Hystria, so that's not a useful one for Hystria. So make sure you pop that one as well. But for this room here, you're going to start over here. You're going to chain lightning these guys. You're going to bring them to this corner over here. You're going to place your lighthouse down, pop your rage or your e-buff, whatever's available. You'd want to pop it on this mob because this is the biggest pool that you've got in the entire room. And then you're going to do your super armor rotation. Now again, I'm doing a Hystria rotation because that's my muscle memory. So one more time, the rotation you're meant to be doing is Aqua Gel into Board Destruction, into Cataclysm, get behind the mobs, do your Hellfire, multiple magic arrow, Sage with the Fireball Explosion, Water Sphere with the Flow, and then whatever skills you need to finish them off. So the next one over here, we're going to just chain lightning those guys in the corner, place the lighthouse down. We're going to do our Aqua Gel. Also place lava fields on the ground. I haven't been very good, but place the lava fields on the ground. So after you do Aqua Gel, you're going to do Board Destruction, Cataclysm, Hellfire, and then you're going to do your pre-awakening set to finish them off. You'll come up here, and then for this mob, again, just chain lightning to make sure you've got everything. Bring him to this corner over here. Place your lighthouse on the ground. Place your lava field down. Do your Aqua Gel, followed by your Board Destruction, followed by Cataclysm. Get up behind the mobs. Hit him with the shoulder charge, your Hellfire. Absolute Magical Arrow, Sage's Rage, Absolute Fireball, Water Sphere with the flow, and then just after that, whatever you feel comfortable with. Over there you can see I did the Aqua Gel into Hellfire Cataclysm, but you can kind of just mix it up after however you see fit to kill the mobs. But now that they're all cleared up, these guys over here, again, we're going to chain lightning to aggro as many as possible. We're going to take that mob, bring it over here, put the lighthouse down, Aqua Gel into Boiled Destruction, into Cataclysm, get behind them, Hellfire, Multiple Magic Arrow, Fireball, Fireball Explosion, Water Sphere in the flow, and then whatever moves you need after that to clean them up. Again, you don't have to clear every single mob. It would be efficient just to get these guys that are left over and drag them to this mob over here. Again, you want to come to this side. You're meant to do, Aqua Gel first, then Bold Destruction, then Cataclysm, into Hellfire, into your Absolute Magical Arrow, Sage's Fireball, Fireball Explosion, and Water Sphere. The reason you start with Aqua Gel and Aakman's over Boiled Destruction is because in Aakman's, Boiled Destruction has a chance of knocking down mobs, and you don't want to knock them down too far away because they're not going to group properly. So that's why you start with Aqua Gel, because there is no knocking of the mobs when you do that, and then by that point they should be grouped up. But anyway, what you're meant to be doing here is chain lightning these guys. I'm just going to heal up here. Chain lightning these guys, bring them to this mob over here, put your lighthouse down, pop your buffs because this is your big mob. You don't have to pop both if you don't want to. You can just pop one and use the other one on a different mob later on. But as you can see here, this is how you grind Aakman's. The rotation is pretty simple on a wizard, but you will get caught out with the lower AP and lower DP. You're not going to be killing them as quickly, which gives them more opportunities to CC you, and you're going to take a lot more damage, so when they CC you, it's going to hurt a lot more. But that is the Hystria guide. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope it's helpful. If you have any questions, please let me know. In terms of what kind of trash you guys should be making down here in Hystria, on the low end with Loot Scroll, at the lower APs, you should be hitting around 4,000 trash. So 235 should be between 3,500 to 4,000 trash once you get optimized. And then once you get to that 250 bracket, which is where you're going to start leaving Aakman's, you should be pushing 5,000 to 6,000 trash per hour, depending on your grind speed and how efficient you've made it for yourself. I was hitting at 249 AP, 5.7k trash, I believe, and I did hit 6k a couple of times. But that is the numbers that you should be expecting. This is the Hystria guide. I hope it's been helpful, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.